And Kenya has been encouraged to prioritize the creative economy and creative industries in their national development strategies. The creative sector has the potential to create jobs and trade opportunities, as well as spur innovation for the bulging youth population. However, according to global reports on creative economy, developing countries are yet to harness this potential due to, among several reasons, lack of enabling policy and legal environment and limited access to finances for the growth of the creative business. We are hosting Mr. Samuel Njue, Lending Officer of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, to shed some light on this disabler. Mr. Njue,
yes.
Welcome to Creative Conversation on Weekend Express.
Thank you so much.
As you have seen,
yes.
The discussion is that nobody is funding the creatives. Do we stand corrected on this?
Yes, you stand corrected on that because as Youth Fund, we have a product which really we have developed to fill that gap of financing in the creative industry. And we refer it as a Talanta loan, and this is a product which is new. It has not been there for long. And we realized that youths, especially in the creative sector, are having so much challenges in terms of accessing finances. So we came up with this product which really caters for youths in the creative industry. You talk of music, film, sculptors, all aspects of performing arts, yeah.
And how does it compare differently from the ones that have been more business-centric? Because the cry has been that everybody funds anybody else who is in a business, but nobody looks at, let's say, the creative sector as a business. How is it different? How is it possible? How are you making this work for the creatives?
Generally, the financial sector, especially the banks and the RIC, have been shying away from financing the creative industry because they categorize it as a high-risk area. And when we come to the creative industry, the biggest challenge is that the youths have to really package these ideas to make big business sense for them to be financed. We have other products, like you have said, which really cater for that youth who is in business. And for the Talanta loan, we are trying to finance, we are trying to look at these youths who, for example, are in music and they have challenges producing their music. They are in film and they have challenges accessing finance to maybe produce their scripts.
I just want to go back to music, film, especially film and music. How will you package this for business and how then do you fund them? Because they are creatives. For them, it's just about putting together the script.
Sure. And in a study done by Emerging Markets Economy for the Kenya Film Commission, they came up with a value chain, especially for the film industry. And they came up with 3 stages in the value chain. One is the concept, and this is where the artists come up with the idea and package it in form of a script. And then the most important stage is distribution. After the script is done, they really have to look for people who will distribute this production into the market. And now comes the finances. After you have convinced that the distributor that this script has makes business sense, that's where now you look for finances to manufacture and now market the script. Now the biggest challenge now is getting contracts, because for us to finance you, maybe in film, you have to have a contract with the distributors that after this film is maybe produced, there is a target market and there is maybe a profit line to that effect. You know, this is a loan, and we are packaging it as a loan because it has to be paid back. So whatever script you have come up with, there have to be a contract again on the distribution, so that at the end, we'll have the youth will be able to make money out of it.
Now then you see why they're crying, because you want a contract before they've actually even packaged it. Now what if you just think, for example, that I have this great film idea and it probably will be picked up, but I still don't have a contract. How does that get funded then?
If you don't have a contract, it becomes a challenge, because we really have to understand you have come up with a script. What is your target market? And at the end of the day, this field, remember, it's business you are financing, and if you don't have as a contract maybe on how you are going to make money out of it, how you are going to make returns out of it, then it becomes difficult for any financier actually to buy your script. And remember that most of the production in Kenya, many broadcasting houses have their in-house broadcasting units. So for you now to really convince a financier that you have a script here, you need money for you to make maybe a film out of it, I think a contract is very important for this.
But still, is there a way that you can be specific to talented people? I read on Twitter just yesterday when we were talking, and somebody said that they probably are making the biggest blockbuster yet, but there is no media house already contracting them for it. Can you jump that stage, or for you, there must be a contract? Without it, then you cannot be able to fund.
Yeah, the way the product is packaged, remember, for us now to process your loan, you have to present something tangible. For example, for music, at least an audio. We have to listen to an audio of you, maybe of the song you want us to help you produce. Because if you don't come up with anything, maybe we can say contractual, or it becomes difficult for us now to buy your idea. Youths just come, they tell you, I'm an actor, I'm a musician, I need money to produce. And then you ask them, how do you plan to make money out of this music, or out of this film? And then they go blank.
I have seen something earlier on when I was discussing with you. You told me that you are associated very closely with comedians. Now, knowing comedians in this country, how did you get a contract so that you would associate with them? Because I don't know whether any of them has produced something to convince you. But I've seen that there's a lot of association between Youth Fund and comedians. So is that part of this talent package? Yes,
you know, talent is all around, and comedians also form part of the clientele we serve. And mostly for these comedians, they come to us and tell us, for example, I have a show, maybe in Mombasa, Nakuru, and from that show already they have a contract from that show. So they tell you, after I perform, this is what I'm expecting to get. But for me to perform, I need A, B, C, and D. And then we come to an agreement on that, such that now after the show is over, the contract now, when it comes to payment, our interests are noted. But we don't just finance them for studying on stage or something like that. We have to see the contract you are going to perform. At the end of the performance, what are you getting, and what are you giving us in return?
Talk to us about groups.
Yes.
Yeah, because many young people, especially the ones in the rural areas, are like the acrobats, just the singing groups. How different would you fund them? Because let's say there are 12 of them, maybe there are 20 of them. Is it even enough to take care of their creative needs? How do you deal with groups?
That's a good question, because in as much as we have the talent alone, note that we have other products within the fund, which include the group loans. And we have also financed so many youths who have talent in the group model. In as much as we are a registered group, a membership of 5 members, that's the minimum, we can finance you to access up to 1 million in a group formation. And remember, we have groups of dancers, acrobats, which is also talent. These ladies who make who weaves and all that. And we have been able to finance them under the group setting. So in as much as we have this talent alone, some of these youths who don't have contract, like you have said, we have been able to fit them in the group formation. And we also have other individual business loans. For example, we have financed so many youths who are in the MC business, and we have managed to buy them equipments to go and do their shows. It's good
you're talking about MCs. Yeah. Somebody tweeted that you have been aligned to certain musicians or certain MCs and not others? If it is true, why? If it is not, also then now how do other people, especially wale mashinani, how do they also ensure that they can be able to gain?
I may say that it's not true that we are aligned to particular artists or MCs. But what really matters is what is your urge, what is your drive? Because the biggest challenge with the youth is actually coming out and seeking for information. For example, you have been in existence for the last 10 years. And some youths will tell you, actually, I don't know anything about the fund. But there are some artists, I may say all youths, the moment they realize that there is an opportunity at the youth fund, they will knock at our door every day. Please kindly finance me on this, me on this. So we are not actually aligned to any artist. What matters is what is your drive? What do you really want youth fund to do for you? And if you come to us, actually, wherever you are, we are going to support you.
Are you able to map out for us, for example, to say, do you know how many musicians have come to you? And do you also know how many people in the film industry, and also just the other crafters, you know, like the ones that I saw there on the photos, the ones who are making, weaving, basketry, and so are you able to map it out for us? Can we know the number of creatives from a certain section?
Yes, it's possible to do that, but most of the youths, for example, the artists, the comedians, we have financed them from the town set here, especially in Nairobi. I've really done quite a bit, and for film, we are yet to really finance a film to completion, but I may speak of around 15 million so far, which we have directly funded through the Talanta program. But remember, I said, through the other products we have, like the way you have talked about the weavers, the sculptors. In Kisii, we have financed so many who are in soapstone industry. In Mombasa, the Wakambas group there. They are one of our biggest clientele when it comes to financing using the group model. So in terms of amounts, through the other products, we can talk over 30 million directly to those.
That is definitely a lot of money. Now, every time you say you have funded, there's always the small matter of how are we paying back. So what are the challenges? Because most of the tweets that are coming in, people are asking, so where is this amount of money? And then how fast do I pay back? Assuming that I'm eligible. How then does that come back? How do you pay? How long do you give them? And then are you really able to go back down to them and ensure that maybe if they want refinancing, they can get?
Well, thank you so much for that. And in the film industry, for example, the payment is based on the contract. What are the terms of the contract? Are you going to be paid in tranches? So that now we base the repayment on the mode of finance, or on the mode of payment for that film. Because you might find that not the whole amount will be paid at once. So if it's paid in tranches, we schedule the repayment as such. For other loans, they are usually scheduled to be paid monthly. Every month, you make an installment after, of course, a grace period. And as we speak, we are at around 80% in terms of recovery, and which is not bad. But the biggest challenge we have with the repayment is that generally youths assume that all government funds actually should not be paid back. They are like grants. So, and remember that Youth Fund came in during a very volatile period in our political history, 2008, 2007 and 2008. So most of the youth take it as a political tool per se. So we get, they have that notion, but along the way, they have come to realize that this fund is revolving and they need to pay back so that other youths can access the funds.
Wow, Mr. Njuek, I did not know that this could take a whole time for us to continue discussing this. Remember, this conversation can still continue on Twitter. You can tweet us at KTN News, at Adhiambo, at Zinzi_Kibiku to continue this discussion. Sure. It cannot get finished completely. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for highlighting that it is indeed possible to get funding in the creative centers So,
Thank you so
back
much.
to you, Zinzi.
That is amazing. Oh my goodness. And that conversation right there winds up Weekend Express on this 1st of April 2018. I hope that you and your loved ones, especially our Christian viewers, are going to mark Easter in a lovely way. I'll see you later on at 1 p.m. Bye-bye for now.